Giuliani thought he didn't have to deal with them either. Poll workers. He accused them of stealing votes and passing around drugs, every stereotype that he could think of. But yet last night, a jury came back. We couldn't get them to deal with justice in New York, but a jury came back in Fulton County, Georgia, and said to the former federal prosecutor of the Southern District of New York, to the former mayor, who they call America's mayor, that you just can't keep doing black folk any kind of way. You're going to have to pay $148 million. And even if you don't have the money, history is going to take you from your pedestal and expose the unfairness and ruthlessness of your act. That's why y'all that marched with us in '99 that were disappointed can now say, if you hold out, and you don't stop, and you don't cave in, and you don't lose the faith, your change will come.
Your change will come. Your change. Just keep the faith. Your change. Or else you will. Your change. Oh, change will.
Sometimes because of you may not have the background you think you need. Some because you don't have what the Joneses next door have. You might develop a complex. But it's not what you don't have, it's what you do have. Because God has given you a gift that the Joneses don't have. And if you believe in what God gave you and stand on his promises and the unique talent you have, no matter how dark it may seem, you'll be all right. I've gone through storms. I've been through many storms, some torrential storms. That's why I don't let the raindrops get me all messed up. Because no real storm, raindrops don't bother me, because beyond every cloud, the sun still shines. And if I just wait on the wind to blow the clouds, my change will come.
Your change will come. Your change. Don't you give up me. Your change will in there. Your change. Oh, change will. Oh, change will.
National Action Network Change Choir, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. All right, certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning. Saturday Action Network, Saturday Action Rally, where we pause every week to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Katrina Jefferson. Our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. Our bands and those on the keyboard, those on the guitars, give them a hand. I thought that was nice. Chris got Minister Richardson some new glasses for Christmas. Isn't that wonderful? Y'all thought I didn't notice. Got him a Popeye t-shirt and hoodie, all right. That's Mickey Mouse. You see I was a boy preacher. I didn't deal with the cartoons. I don't know Mickey Mouse from Popeye from Minnie Mouse. I missed all of that. But give them a hand anyhow. Give a hand to our inspirational speaker today, the Reverend Earl Jones. Reverend Jones, I love that. I like his message this morning. And I hope you heard it. Why not me? I love that. And he did us proud. I know his daddy. His daddy pastors in Brooklyn. And he's a great preacher, and now his son is at Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church in Jamaica, Queens. All right, somebody that, for y'all in Radio Land, she was hollering her applause. Folk here on the radio don't know if somebody jumping in here doing something else. We had Reverend Jones, we had Nelson Mandela's daughter here last Saturday, and one of the guys come in the back and yell Amanda, which was chant they did in South Africa. They would march and chant like we do, no justice, no peace, whatever the refrain. They would say Amanda. And he came in the back and said Amanda, and people thought somebody coming here heckling us. So y'all realize we are on the air. So when y'all be hollering, holler with a friendly tone in your holler. I don't want y'all to get concerned out in Radio Land. Let me start by thanking all of you to continue to pray for our Executive Vice President and General Counsel, Attorney Michael Hardy. He's doing very well. I told him to rest as he deals with he's back, he's been at the office, but I told him rest on the weekend. I'm sure he's listening. And Katrina's doing a great job as she continues her work here during the day and running the network's House of Justice and work here at the headquarters, but filling in on Saturdays. And then, of course, we got a lot of family stuff going on this month, because we got today, we're going to celebrate all the December birthdays, including Kitty and Marcus Al. We got a bunch of birthdays this month. And even though they tell me, Reverend, that Reverend Bird, they say that December is the wrong month of Jesus' birth. But it was chosen because the commercial interests in this country wanted a fourth quarter win. Better said fourth quarter windfall, so they can make their earnings up in the end. You know, some historians say Jesus' birthday was another month. Some say January, it could be October. Now, I ain't saying that because I was born in October, but it could be. But there shows you a perversive, perverted spirit when you have those corporate interests that would manipulate the birth of Christ to benefit their bottom line. And many of us that get caught up in that don't even tell our children the story of Jesus. We tell them more the story of Santa Claus. Now, it's hard for them to tell me the story of Santa Claus because we didn't have a chimney. And no reindeers ran through our neighborhood. But just think about that. If we have our children more concerned on what they get for Christmas than on the meaning of what a Christ Mass is, we are cooperating with a perverted, distorted theological basis. Now, I'm not saying don't celebrate, but also educate while you celebrate. Let's welcome our, all right, I'm a minute early, but I want y'all to really get this, because A lot of us get into this argument about should we celebrate Christmas. You can't take your children out of the culture. So they go to school and they got friends and everybody celebrates. So if they want to do something for Christmas, fine. But let them know the meaning of Christmas. And then if you're going to exchange give gifts that have some meaning. Don't be giving stuff that you know don't mean nothing. Toys that going to break down by the end of the week. Buying you stuff that you don't need. The crazy thing in the world, let's welcome our Impact Television family journey. The thing that makes little sense to me is when people will give gifts to each other on Christmas and never talk about the gift of Christ was to the world. And let me tell you something, and I'm going to get into it in a minute, but as Reverend Bird talked about the magnanimity of the Conference of Black Churches, National Black Churches, that convened in Orlando this week. I was one of the speakers. One of the things that I look at is no religion in the world would allow you to distort their religion other than some of us that have been belittled in the feeling that we can't question the manipulation of our beliefs. That's what Reverend Earl Jones tried to tell you. In order for slavery to survive, is not only, as Jones was talking about white supremacy, is not only did whites become convinced they were superior, they had to convince blacks that we were inferior. That's right. That's right. And without a supporting inferiority complex, white supremacy would not reign. They not only told their children they were better than us, we told our children to stay in their place. Wow. And many of y'all are still in your place. Wow. Wow. Designated place of denial. Wow. And until we break that sense of inferiority, we will never be where we're supposed to be. I mean, I've had to deal with that all my life, Reverend Jones. Who does he think he is? And I'm demanding rights for you. Can you imagine that? I'm fighting for you, and you mad at me. Well, he's too loud. You know, they come out with the documentary, Loud Mouth. He's too loud. So you wanted me to whisper, no justice, no peace? We're going to have a march and go to jail. Well, I don't like he wear tracksuits. So you wanted me to wear my best suit to jail? It's embedded in your inferiority. And we need to really deal with training our children at a young age that they are equal and can excel to anybody on the planet. Just because you were put in an inferior environment, you are not an inferior being. Don't confuse my circumstance with who I am. And the only reason I was put in an inferior environment is you sent me there to uphold your illusionary supremacy. So don't feel sorry for me, I feel sorry for you, because you sick enough to segregate people and downsize people. And in the course of history and time, that will never survive. So let me be clear, Reverend Jones's message was a great message. Let me say this, I want to first celebrate 10 years of our huddle group. Huddle, 10 years. Huddle meets on Monday nights here, and some of our chapters around the country have formed huddle. These are for young people, and they meet and they have speakers, but then they have general discussions. And they came with this and have done it faithfully for 10 years. My daughter Ashley conceived it. Ashley and Dominique convened it, and then they have others that aid them. And it's all young people, and they've got people younger than them now that are leading huddle and guiding huddle. And we're proud. It is a very, very vibrant part of our movement around the country. And I'm proud of them and glad to see them. Well, I don't even go because I don't want it to be a thing about us. I want young people. Some of you old folks come and serve food, and y'all be eating up the kids' food. Oh, I know what y'all be doing. Coming here, I just want to support the kids. Y'all got chicken tonight? But they welcome you in anyhow. So give them another hand. I'll huddle thee. One of the things that I think that we've got also in this battle against inferiority is stop this play. That's why huddle is important. Stop this intergenerational fighting. Young versus old. First of all, who defines where you get old? You know, I remember 10, 12, 13 years ago, they were, well, we need the young people in the movement to do so-and-so. Now those young people are in their 40s. And they trying to move the young line up. And then they hit 50, and they try to, well, that ain't so old. Some of y'all run around 65 talking about it's middle-aged. You get your AARP card, you are not middle-aged. And you 45 and somebody calling you grandma, you are not young no more. The difference between younger and young. We must have movements that are intergenerational, that it flows from one to the other, because it's the same struggle. You're not oppressed because you're old, and you're not oppressed because you're young. The same people that give student debt loans that are exorbitant and you never get out of are the same people that are challenging Social Security. It's the same fight. And if we are really dealing with our roots, the African tradition was to learn from the elders and to sit at the feet of the elders and the young be the gladiators. They didn't fight the elders. One of the great stories, Malcolm Bird, that a lot of people miss, which is why I'm so glad and try to always bring history here. Nelson Mandela's daughter, Dr. Maki Mandela, was here last week, is that Nelson Mandela, Gwen Carr, was leader of ANC. When he joined ANC, he became a law partner to one of the leaders, Oliver Tambo. And they kept fighting. And finally, they were charged, sentenced to years in jail. They thought they were going to sentence him to death. She told the story here last week. He did 27 years in jail. And finally, because of the world's reaction, I want y'all to watch this now. It took the world to force the crumbling of the apartheid government. People in Europe, people in the US started marching about free South Africa. Randall Robinson and Trans-Africa, an organization here, started having people go before the South African embassy and go to jail on a daily basis. And finally, the U.S. administration that had demonized the ANC, had to recognize them. Ronald Reagan had called the ANC a terrorist organization. Mandela went from being a terrorist to being a Nobel Peace Prize winner. That's why you can't let people define you. If you keep your own self-concept, the world will catch up to who you see yourself as long as you don't lose sight of who you are. And Mandela went on. They had the first elections there. Broke the back of apartheid. Said we're going to have general election. 1994, they had the general elections. Reverend Dr. Wyatt T. Walker, who pastored Canaan Baptist Church here in Harlem, had been the executive director for Martin Luther King, was the first chairman of the board of this organization. He said to me, Reverend Al, I want to organize a group to go over and be observers of the first election in South Africa. It took me and others, and we were observers 3 days. People lined up and voted. And in South Africa, they don't vote on people, they vote on party. So the ANC, you voted for the party. PAC voted for the party, and on and on and on. ANC won the election, and the ANC then put Mandela as president. First president of free South Africa was a former prisoner, Nelson Mandela. But here's the connection. When he got his first 4-year term, he finished and he stepped aside and said, let the ANC choose another, intergenerational. That's why I was proud this week. When I got back from Orlando, I met with Governor Hochul, and she's going to sign in the next few days the reparations bill for the state of and a lot of different organizations are responsible for that, as they're going to study and deal with how we deal with reparations in the state. California and other states have done it. It happened in New York because of we got people in position and people that would not go against the activists. That's why I always extol Andrea Stewart-Cousins and Carl Hastie, who she's the majority leader of the New York State Senate, and he's the speaker. Because in the back room, they have to fight even though they have to deal with their caucus. And we be running around with our lip poked out talking about, I don't see nothing done. It means a lot. I remember when I was very young, running around behind Queen Mother Moore talking about reparations. But if it had not been for the continuity of struggle, Lloyd Williams, Haldeman Chamber of Commerce, activists that are in the street, may not even get along with each other. But all of us pushing that, there's going to be something in the state. Then you have to fight as the commission going what that reparation going to mean. But at the same time, I see a younger generation of ministers, pastors. I heard Bird talking about how we're faith-based civil rights organization. And I was watching this weekend, I mentioned it when I was at the governor's office. Reverend Brawley, pastor St. Paul Community Baptist Church in Brooklyn. My pastor, Reverend Adolphus Lacey, Bethany Baptist, Reverend Lawrence Aker, all of them been pressuring around affordable housing and will not back up off of that. And they've got some movement there. There'll be some announcements this week there. That didn't happen by itself. It happened because of Brawley. It happened because of Lacey. And we got to bring on, let me tell you, one of the genuine things, I always tried to support them because they went against the grain to pastor historic churches. That's right. That's right. I want y'all to think about that. That's right. You that are not church-based, some of y'all go to church here, even though it's a church-based group. Some of y'all don't go to church. Some of y'all are Muslims. Some of y'all are Hindus. Some of y'all are What, undecided? Some of us can't decide what you are. But the institutions of the historic church are also the landmarks of our community. When blacks were brought here, the largest dock of slave sales was right on Wall Street. The two biggest ports of slave trade was Charleston, South Carolina, and Wall Street in Lower Manhattan. That's why they put the museum down there, the African burial ground, because that's where the slaves were brought. As they moved on and got free 246 years later, the slaves that were ported lived in the Lower East Side. I'm giving you the New York history. They were the Lower East Side. As others came in, there were those that had the vision of going north of Central Park. And they formed communities up around north of Central Park, going all the way up. In that drive, Adam Creighton Powell Sr., not Jr., built Abyssinian Baptist Church and the Mother AME Zion Church, led now by Malcolm Byrd, who's our senior coordinator, who is our executive coordinator here at NAN, over operations, pastors that now. These were the first institutions that blacks had in Harlem. And they still stand. So even if you don't agree with the theology, you ought to respect the history. Rockefeller, John D., built and paid and raised the money to build Riverside Church on the west side, and had a beautiful, massive neo-Gothic structure. If you go to Riverside now, and I've preached at Riverside, many of y'all go through there for other events or maybe members, you will see the plaque of the Rockefellers in the vestibule. They spent the money in the early 20th century, late 19th century, to build Riverside Church. Adam Creighton Powell Sr. and the pastors of Mother AME Zion said, we're going to build the black neo-Gothic structures. And they built Abyssinia, they built Mother AME Zion, and then other churches. As time went on, and those blacks that lived in Brooklyn had to get whatever way they could over the river to come to Harlem to churches, they formed a church in Brooklyn that was the adjunct to Abyssinia called Concord Baptist Church. This is the history. Concord was the sister church of Abyssinia, where Gardner Taylor eventually pastored. Bethany, a neo-Gothic church. So you walk by churches talking black talk, not understanding that you're looking at black history, that blacks defied in a box. To build a black church in the early 20th century was defiant. To say we don't have to go and sit in a balcony at Riverside. We'll build our own neo-Gothic churches. That's as militant as you can be. You don't understand what activism is if you don't know your history. When Haile Selassie came to America, the emperor of Ethiopia, he came to Abyssinia. And he gave Adam Creighton Powell Jr. a Coptic cross, gold, that still stands in that pulpit. Haile Selassie emperor of Ethiopia. That African enough for you? Y'all be talking about Christianity, white man's religion. The first Christian nation was Ethiopia. When you talk that talk, it does not show how deep you are. It shows how you are ignorant of your own history. And you allow people to act like Christianity started in Rome. You got to go to Addis Ababa. That's where disciples went and established a Christian state. It was that connection of knowing who he was that Mandela never lost. And after all of the history he made, his daughter about that last week here. First president of the nation, Nobel Prize winner, recognized all over the world. He wrote down, when I die, don't lay me in state in Johannesburg, the capital. Don't bury me in a royalty. Bring me back to the village and bury me with my ancestors. Because whoever I am, I was taught, grounded, and rooted in the tribe that I come out of. Great men and great women never get away from who they are and the history they're continuing. It is not about you. It's about continuing and having a vessel, being a vessel, that you connect what was before you to what is coming behind you. You learn that just every day. Every day is a result of yesterday. And going to render at midnight till tomorrow. So what makes you think you're going to last forever? When I talk about to our board at National Action Network about continuity of NAN and how after I do 2 or 3 more things, we're going to pass the leadership of NAN, it's because we didn't struggle to build this. We've been here 32 years. All these struggles for it to die with me. I mean, the worst ego, maladjusted psycho is folks that build things and wanted to only be around them. You got folk, you got this, don't care about what happened to the church after them. You got community leaders, don't care what's going to the community after them. You got folk that head groups in church. Some of y'all right here head NAN auxiliaries. If it ain't you in charge, if it ain't you doing everything, you don't want the committee to go forward. The world was not waiting on you to be born. That ain't just egomaniacal, that's sick. But some people sick. It's all about me. Yeah, it's all about you need some help. You don't need a banquet or an award, you need a therapist. You want to be the best you could be, and what God made you, but you want it to be connected to something. That's why I always say, to where folk get tired, I don't care they get tired. I learned at the feet of Bishop Washington and Reverend William Jones and Jesse Jackson and James Brown. They trained me. I ain't got a degree from Harvard. I got a degree from Jones Jackson Brown University. But learning from those that broke history made me understand the difference between history and hysteria. That's why I'm not intimidated by Donald Trump. That's why I'm not intimidated by Rudy Giuliani, and never was. Because if your roots are deep, you know how strong you can stand. I tell a story often, Earl Jones, about how we were once touring in the northwest of the country. There had been all of these storms that had knocked out miles of the forests and the trees. One of the things they have is they admire, people would come and go admire the trees out there, miles and miles of the forest land. And as we were touring, Reverend Joe Lowry, the late great former head of SCLC, we was touring, and the tourist guide was showing us these trees were blown down, and this is uprooted, and this is wrong. But then we saw like a half a mile away, all these trees that were standing erect, tall, looked like they were beyond our ability to see the top. And Reverend Lowry said, well, what happened to those trees survived? How did they survive the storm? And the guide said, well, you don't understand, those are different kind of trees. He said, what do you mean? He said, well, their roots run all the way from here, this is the state of Washington now, down to Iowa. And if you have long, strong roots, the wind can't blow you down. Even if some branches get blown down, even if the top get blown down, the strength of a tree is the roots. Our grandparents, our forefathers understood that when somebody would come to date their daughter, the first thing they would say is, whose folks is him? They understand if they knew your roots, they knew about the boundaries of your character. We've been so psyched in this time by supremacists that they have you uprooting yourself. That's old school. I'm with the new thing. What new thing? Ain't nothing new about them in charge and you taking orders. Ain't nothing new about self-degradation. Ain't nothing new about selling yourself cheap. I tell these young folk in entertainment, you ain't the first one to cuss. You ain't the first one to act the fool. We had that when I was a kid, but we didn't make the center of our culture. I remember when Richard Pryor, when the African come back. Some of y'all old enough to remember Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor said, I'm no longer going to use the N-word because I've seen Africans now. We are not niggas. You need to open up your eyes and know who we are. Only fight some of them have fought is the right to fight to call themselves nigger. I'm talking about some rappers. When I came out, the others came out saying bury the N-word, they gonna debate. They never went nowhere and debated nothing about police brutality, about education inequality, about economic inequity. But they gonna fight their fathers and mothers for the right to call themselves a nigger. How sick can you be? You got a contract with a record company. Call yourself a nigger and then call us who stand up on black institutions sellouts. Well, who bought us? You the one got paid. And then when you get in trouble and they go on social media and bring out all your demons, then you want some people that you denounce to stand up for you because you thought you could behave like your bosses behaved and you'd get away with it. And when they squeeze all the money out of you, they take the sheets off you and expose who you are. We didn't raise you to be a freak. We raised you to be an artist and a cult giant. But you lose your mind because you have this inbuilt inferiority. So you want to be approved. You want to be accepted. You want people that you think are better than you to embrace you. So you impress them, and they know all they got to do is pat you on the head, because you really want to be accepted. But then there are those that God calls that don't care about the acceptance of man. They march to the beat of a different drum and know that if God is pleased, that God will make a way out of nowhere. That's why when they come out with that documentary on me last year, and it's still on Showtime, Loudmouth, and I watch my own life. You know, when you live your life, you can't watch it. And I think about how people thought I was crazy standing up to Giuliani and stand up to this one and that one. But it was because I had a different self-definition that I got out the black church.
Yes, sir.
So because I grew up Washington Temple and then Bethany, and black folk was in charge, I was more concerned what Trustee Thompson thought about me than what Mayor Beam thought about me. My validation came from my own community. Bishop Proctor of the AME Zion Church talks about how when he was about 8 or 9, his daddy had a Wonder Boy preacher come preach in Long Island. And he never forgot the Wonder Boy preacher was me. I told him, well, I'm no longer a boy, but I'm still a wonder. Because I think about often, and I tell Dominique and Ashley that, when I said at 4 years old, Reverend Jones, that I wanted to preach at the Junior Esther's anniversary, and Bishop Washington let me preach. By the time I was 7 or 8, I was on the circuit all over New York preaching. Suppose if they told me no. Suppose if Bishop Washington told my mother, that boy can't preach, go get him some blocks, build a house, give him some crayons. Because they didn't inhibit my talent. By the time I got of age, whites couldn't tell me what I couldn't do. Because I'd been validated by the biggest people in my community. So I didn't need your validation. I was already validated. Call me whatever name you wanted in whatever newspaper you got. Your validation did not come from me or come for me or matter to me. I was validated in Washington Temple. I was validated in Bethany Baptist. Yes, I don't give two flips about what you think about me. Well, Mal is controversial. Yes, because it's a controversy around here. Y'all shooting my people and nobody going to jail. That's right. That's right. We're going to have some controversy till we get this straight. That's right. And that's where we are now. We are in a state of total siege. In the last year, they've ruled in the Supreme Court against voting rights. Took out Section 2. Voting rights. That ain't some legalese. That ain't something they taught in law school. Voting rights came from black folks getting beaten and jailed and killed to give us our voting rights. They killed Goodman, Schwerner, and Cheney. They killed Viola Luisa. They beat John Lewis and Hosea Williams and Amelia Boykin on the bridge, the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma. We fought to get the right to vote. And now you sit up with some black robes and try to take it out just like our forefathers fought to get it. We're going to fight to maintain it. Act like y'all donated us right to vote. We got that with bloodshed. We got that with jail cells at night. And we are the children of those that fought the battle, and we are warriors ourselves. Took away affirmative action. Now going to use that to say blacks can't do business with each other. People got up on colleges and universities. I was on TV all week on this. And I'm against that. You can't march around a university talk about kill the Jews, kill anybody. They do it to the Jews, they do it to the blacks. But then, wait a minute, don't come back now and use that to go after the 3 university presidents and you only attack the black one. Talking about she was a DEI appointee. Because you want to use this to knock down diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I said, I don't agree with students doing that, but Dr. Gay, the president of Harvard, should not be scapegoated. They need to be corrected, but not scapegoated. We're not going to let you take DEI down. Ackman, a multi-billionaire in New York, is the one that attacked her. He didn't think we would answer him. I'm attacking him. I might go down with a couple of hundred yards of his office and let him know that we are warriors. People talking about, Reverend, are you for Biden or Trump? I'm for us. So let me get this right. Who's talking about they're going to take back affordable health care? Trump said he'd get in. It's the end of affordable health care. He put the judges there that took back voting rights. He put the judges there that took back women's right to choose. He put the judges there that took back affirmative action. Question ain't whether you on Trump's side or Biden's side. The question is, are you on your own side? How are you rooting for somebody that told you they ain't for you? Something wrong with you. He ain't whispering this. He's saying it out loud. Well, you know, you seen the polls, Reverend. I don't know if we could beat them. We ain't never had a fight that the polls was on our side. We don't take the polls, we change the polls. Well, who do you think you are? Well, I thought you'd never ask. Go back to Reverend Jones' message this morning. When he was talking, I thought about the story of Gideon. Gideon's people had been under siege by Midianites. And the Midianites had taken control of them. God allowed the Midianites. Let me tell you something. Sometimes God allows oppressors to whip you back in line. Sometimes God allows trouble in your life to get you straight. You know, when Moses approached the Red Sea and God told him that don't worry about what's getting ready to happen because I've hardened Pharaoh's heart. I've changed his mind. But you just keep going. And when they got near the Red Sea, they could hear Pharaoh's chariots coming. They could hear the horses coming. And they turned on Moses. And some would say, the devil doesn't change. No, that was God. Some stuff you're going through is God testing you and bringing you down so you won't forget where you come from. And God hardened Pharaoh's heart because he knew he was going to let the children through the Red Sea and drown Pharaoh's army. But to test Stephen Marshall, you preach this, Reverend Marshall. The part we miss, I said this the other night at the conference of National Black Churches, part we miss, Stephen, is that who had real faith was Moses. What do you mean, Sharpton? Moses had been raised in Pharaoh's house. Moses knew the landscape, Earl Jones. He knew the land. So why would Moses, as Passover happened and the slaves were free, why didn't he go a route of all land to the promised land? Why would he march to the Red Sea? We rushed past that. I mean, what would make you, if we say we go march to Brooklyn, why would I march y'all east, knowing we going to hit the East River sooner or later? Unless I had the faith to know that I don't know what's going to happen at the river.
That's good.
But I know the God that made the river. I know there may be another route, but this is the route God gave me, and I can't be responsible for what happens. But I'm not going to be responsible for not doing what God said. Keep marching. When he get to the river, God got it figured out. You keep backing away from the direction God gave you. March to your Red Sea. If you keep marching to your Red Sea, God will tell you to stretch out your rod. You are moving away from your miracle. March towards your miracle. Maybe God gave us a trump to get us ready again for the fight. Maybe we needed a Trump and a Giuliani to snap us out of our delusions and hallucinations. Maybe we needed to get beat down so we could stand up and realize if God before us is more than the whole world against us. Maybe we needed some supremacist to make us affirm that we are who we are. And we not your boys, and we not your girls, and we not your niggas. We were made in the image of God. How you gonna be afraid of folk you already beat? You think we can win? We put Barack Obama in the White House. Polls was against him. We re-elected him. Polls was against him. We put Kamala Harris in the vice presidency. Are you blind to who you are? We made David Dinkins mayor. Come back and married Eric Adams mayor. Don't forget what you already done. Deal with your roots of who you are. And that is all through the Bible, is the Israelites kept forgetting who they were. Got across the Red Sea and got lost in the wilderness. Got across the Red Sea and started worshiping graven images, golden calves, trinkets, doing the bling bling in the wilderness. And that's what some of y'all doing, bling bling preachers. Got more rings than you got message. Bling bling preachers. Gold calf worshipers. Got all kind of ornaments in the church. Gold dripping and gospel nowhere. Pagan worshipers. Took God out the church. Took the struggle out the church. We brought you from the back of the bus to the front. Now you're driving a fancy car and forgot who put you there. God exalted you to exalt his people, not for your self-aggrandizement, not for your ego. Your ego has overruled the agenda. Sometimes God got to put something on you to snap you out of your illusion. That's why this gospel, as we go in this Christmas season, God did not choose a anointed one by society. God didn't choose somebody that had matriculated at the best schools. God didn't choose somebody that was the head of the right social clubs. He took a humble, unknown woman named Mary. Didn't nobody know Mary, didn't nobody in society know Mary. She wasn't big in southern Israel and where Palestine was. She was a nobody. And God said, I'm going to take this humble woman and give her my son. And I don't want my son to be raised in a palace. I'm not going to put them in the head priest's house. I'm going to put them, matter of fact, they ain't even got room in the inn. Let them be born in the barn with the goats and the pigs and all of that. Let his first breath smell of the manure of animals, because he came for those that were rejected, that had to smell that every day. He came for those that had no way out but to stand behind animals and smell that mess. That's the first breath Jesus took. And that's why, if you come in Jesus' name, step out of your ego, step out of your fineries, and serve the people that God put you over. That's why people sitting in segregated churches, sitting where they couldn't drink out of the water fountain downtown, where they couldn't ride the front of a bus, when they couldn't go to certain schools, wasn't allowed to sit in the park, it was the law, they couldn't even watch when they would go past a department store downtown. If they changed the white woman mannequins with the dresses, blacks had to bow their head. They couldn't watch them change a dead mannequin. But they would go to their black-owned church and sing, "What a fellowship, what a joy divine." That's why when Fat Joe and them came with that song, "Lean Back, Lean Back," I thought about that gospel song, "What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on his everlasting arm." Some nights, Jones, they put me in jail, and they wondered why I wasn't complaining, I was leaning. Sometime they wrote about me in the newspaper in scandalous ways. It didn't stop me, I was leaning. Sometimes they said they gonna get him, they gonna take him out. They stabbed me one Saturday morning, but I was leaning on his everlasting arm. What a joy divine. What a fellowship. When I run out, when my energy's gone, when my strength is gone, I can lean. I can lean on his everlasting arm. You can't knock me down because I'm leaning. You don't know why I'm standing up. I'm still leaning. You don't know how I lasted this long. I'm leaning.
What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arm. What a blessedness, what a peace in mind, leaning on the everlasting arm. Leaning
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. We want justice. We want freedom. Got to have justice. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. I'm going to open the doors of the movement. There may be someone here today that never joined National Action Network. You hear us on the radio, you watch us on television, but never became an active member of National Action Network. If you're here today and never joined, just come right down to me. Just come on, they're guiding you down to me. And join National Action Network this morning. Come on, just come on to me. Don't worry about who's watching. Everybody else had to come down, and we watched them. Just come on. Come on. Everybody's singing. Come on. Come on. Y'all let her come on. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Come on. Everybody sing. Everybody singing. One more time, y'all. I got this. Everybody singing. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. Everybody singing. All right. All right, let's get ready to raise our offering. We 2 minutes to 11, and we say we're going to be from 9 to 11. I need about 5 more minutes. You that are in radio land, you can go online to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can support National Action Network right online. Don't forget Christmas Day. We'll be here all day from 11 to 3, serving and communing, hot meals, just like we did on Thanksgiving. Some of you ought to come and serve. Many of our elected officials will be here with us, and then they go home after 3 and have their Christmas. Mark Morial and his family here at the National Urban League already called me. Said his family be here to help serve. You that want to serve, or you that may be an elder and don't have family here, or you may be homeless, you can sign up at the counter, or you can go to nationalactionnetwork.net, nationalactionnetwork.net, and sign up online. But let us act accordingly. I want everybody working on Christmas Day. All right, let us get ready to raise the offering right here in the House of Justice. I need everybody to give to the best of their ability. Don't forget, watch politics.